A Kentucky state representative has filed 2 bills that would prohibit immigrants who've become U.S. citizens from holding local and state offices in Kentucky. Republican Representative Shane Baker of Somerset says these measures would help preserve the state. Wave News reporter Fernando Garcia-Franceschini spoke to a legislator who would be impacted by these changes. She calls the proposals, quote, disappointing.
Yeah, Brian, Democratic Representative Nima Kulkarni of Louisville was born in India and moved to the U.S. with her family back in the 80s. She's been serving in the Kentucky legislature since 2019 and is running for re-election this year. Kulkarni says banning naturalized immigrants from running for office in Kentucky is unconstitutional, and she says it ignores the real issues facing Kentuckians. We caught up with Representative Nima Kulkarni as she was getting ready to start week 2 of the Kentucky General Assembly, a session she says started with a bigger splash than usual.
And it's usually a pretty, low-key, kind of uneventful time. Of course, we've had several bills filed in this last week that were anything but, unfortunately.
Kulkarni is talking about 2 bills filed by Republican Representative Shane Baker. House Bill 186 would require candidates for local offices, which includes mayors and even school board members, to be natural-born citizens of the United States and solely hold American citizenship. House Bill 259 would amend the Commonwealth's Constitution to require the same of people running for state and county-wide office. In a statement, Baker says, quote, these measures work hand in hand to protect our communities and preserve our state.
I think this is at its most fundamental level, racism, xenophobia, and bigotry.
Baker says he proposed the bills after, quote, having seen firsthand the consequences of foreign leadership in states like Minnesota.
Kentucky is not a border state. We don't have a huge immigrant and refugee population, and certainly nowhere near for it to be a problem, as Representative Baker asserted.
And as the only current legislator who would be impacted by these measures, Kulkarni says she wishes her colleagues would focus on what she calls Kentucky's real issues.
How are we going to navigate people not being able to access federal benefits for food, for health care? Those are the issues that we need to be focusing on.
These proposed bills have pushed Representative Kulkarni's own father to file at the last minute to run for the state house. Kulkarni says she's not surprised to see her father taking a stand and hopes more people will do the same. Fernando Garcia-Franceschini, Wave News.